You ever heard of SouthJersey.com, South Jersey Magazine?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
I
so
get,
I started that back in the 90s with
of course you
Commerce
did.
Bank. Yeah, yeah. That was my first big internet play was SouthJersey.com.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, I did that with Vernon Hill back in, I think that was probably 96. We launched one of the first online communities, SouthJersey.com, and then we distributed in the Bay.
On the flip side of that, so I'm sure you had a lot of successes, and I'm sure you had some failures. It's just what entrepreneurs do. So in terms of the value that you're bringing, the people that you're bringing on board, and the vendors that you're using, on the flip side of that, what do you think that causes companies to fail? Do you think that those are in those same three areas, or do you think that it's something totally different in terms of what might be?
I really believe it comes down to a little bit what I said about adding value first, and then it's the sales. And it's I don't think a lot of companies understand that generally, that's not to pigeonhole it, but I believe that 20% of your core client base is going to represent 80% of your revenue. And you got to focus. A lot of businesses try to go and diversify very quickly, thinking that they can, because they were successful here, they can leverage that and move over here. They don't go 1 inch wide and a mile deep. They decide to go wide and thin. And that wide and thin is like tin foil that just kind of like doesn't have any consistency. But when you really focus on something and you dredge, you see that there's way more opportunity to learn in that 1 inch and then go deep into an existing client base, and then of course taking their habits and their traits and their characteristics and just migrating those over slowly in a larger market. So it really is focused. I believe we're headed into an era of specialization and micro influence where, if you look at the Kardashians, they charge millions of dollars to have a tweet and you be part of that. Well, guess what? The return rate on that, separate from a micro influencer today that maybe only has 10,000 followers, but they're super focused on exactly, not where everything is out here, but like something specific to their needs and wants. The percentage of influence that that person with less audience has to kind of represent the brand or to do marketing, it's huge opportunity. So I think we're in a great age of expansion and opportunity, but I think a lot of people don't know how to monetize. They don't understand the sales process, and they're afraid of it, quite frankly. They're afraid to ask for the sale. They don't value their product or service high enough, and then they don't go to that 1 inch market. They really don't know what that 1 inch market is, the audience that they need to focus on and spend all of their attention on that, and then extract as much of the revenue out of that vein. Once they find that vein, you just pull as much of that blood out as you can, and then you migrate, slowly to something else. So biggest failure is lack of focus, diversification before you really are successful.
You're absolutely brilliant, Pete. Like I never, like I think about that time and time again. It takes a lot of focus, and it does take some resources to be able to pull that 1 inch that you're talking about. And I think that that's the problem. I think that that's where a lot of people fail, etc. Because they everybody has this like huge and long view in terms of like where they want to be, and they want to make billions and billions of dollars in sales. They want to be able to have an audience everywhere because they don't understand their audience. That's really the reason why. So they tend to do a lot of spray and pray, and they tend to try to figure out where their market is, and they spend years and a lot of money trying to figure that instead of doing the research up front and saying, okay, this is exactly where my audience is. This is exactly where I'm going to be able to, I can increase my EBITDA per year. I can increase my net profits per year because I know how much money I'm going to spend within this very secure and very specific space. And I think a lot of times, like that's it right there. I think that's the nut and bolts of it right there. A lot of times, like people think that they're because of the opportunity, they are able to do what they think that they can do, but it's really the same way as it was 20 years ago. Like you literally have to be able to pinpoint exactly where you want to go, and then just squeeze it out. You're 100% right.
Absolutely. I think one other kind of personal characteristic is, I'll call it, it's a dual-edged sword. It's humility and ego. So if you're not humble and open to the responsibility and accountability to certain people that do bark in your ear and say, hey, are you staying focused? Are you stay the course, stay the course? Coupled with your own ego, which you need to today in business, yeah, there are people out there that have the ego and have the success and have money. Good for them. It's about the same luck as being on the PGA Tour and making it through 4 Grand Slams. it's a minority of people that have huge egos and are hugely successful. Where you do get success is being authentic. Check your ego at the door, develop really strong relationships, understand you're going to fail, understand you're going to fail people, you're going to fail your numbers, you're going to fail in every direction. But if you take that and learn from it and bring the humility side of it in, boy, will you attract a lot more people. So and a lot more kind of positive energy as you move forward. It's okay to be human, especially today when we're just surrounded by all this digital landscape.